Hosted by you/greedy_orchid_7723. My, 32M, marriage with my wife, Mary, 31F, feels like it's unraveling at the seams. I have so much anger, disgust, and resentment inside me that everyday living feels impossible. I want to scream all the time, and it feels like I'll never be my carefree self again. This is long, so if you can be bothered to read it, buckle in. My best friend, Ben, was my closest companion. We met when we were 5 and were inseparable since then. We were there for each other during all of life's big moments and turns. His place became my second home when my parents went through their explosive divorce when I was 11. I was there for him and mourned with him when his younger sister passed away from cancer when we were 15 and she was only 10. You name it, we worked through it. He was the only one who didn't freak out when I decided to drop out of college to pursue a trade. There was never a moment when either of us worried about the other's reaction or what they'd say or think. Ben was the type of guy who could make anyone feel better, regardless of the situation. He always knew what to say and what you needed, even if you didn't agree at the time. He's the best person I've ever had the privilege of meeting, and the world was a better place with him in it. I unfortunately know I have to put this in here. No, Ben and I were never in love with each other like that. We were really close best friends/brothers. Ben met his wife, Sally, in his junior year of college, and I knew Sally was going to be the greatest love of his life. She was so open, warm, and adventurous. Like Ben, she had a smile that lit up the whole room and effortlessly made everyone feel like her best friend. Everyone, including myself, looked at them as that perfect couple everyone knows. They got married 2 years into dating. Ben always told me how excited he was to love, hold, and protect her forever, and all the ways he wanted to make her happy. He showed his love for her every day in his words and actions. I was so happy for him because I thought she did the same. I helped her plan his surprise 30th birthday party, where he was reduced to tears upon seeing that she had spent hours making him a Mario Kart Rainbow Road themed cake. They talked about children, holidays, rescuing animals, and growing their own fruits and vegetables. Sally quickly became a sister to me and became very close friends with Mary. The four of us went on countless holidays, helped each other through life's challenges, went on at least one double date a fortnight, etc. About 5 months ago, I woke up to 5 missed calls from Ben between the hours of 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. the night before, and I just had a feeling something really bad had happened. I called out of work and drove straight to his place. Sally had been cheating on Ben pretty much their entire relationship. When I confronted her and asked how she could do such a thing, and why she got married in the first place if she was going to cheat the entire time, she broke down and told me it was more like living a double life. Sally is a lesbian. She'd known since she was a teenager but never felt like she could come out because of her conservative family. She met Ben and fell in love with him, counting on her feelings for women to somehow go away. She said she genuinely loved him as a person and life partner, but that secret part of her only grew stronger and louder over the years. She casually dated and hooked up with women, telling Ben she was hanging out with friends from her girls group. He only found out the night he'd called me because one of the women Sally was seeing wanted to take their relationship further and freaked out when Sally broke up with her instead. This woman showed up at their house late at night and told Ben everything. Ben was absolutely shattered. He gave everything to Sally and loved her wholeheartedly, but it wasn't even with the real her. She claimed to love him, but I can't help but think she was using him. She lied to everyone, letting us think she loved and adored Ben as much as he loved her, just so she could have her cake and eat it too. I was quick to tell Ben he deserved better, but Sally apparently begged on her hands and knees. She told him she really did love him and was willing to do anything to make it better. She promised never to talk to any women ever again, suggested they could move somewhere new and start fresh, all that bullcrap. Ben fell into a deep depression because he realized he never knew the real Sally, but he did really love her. He agonized over what to do until he got hit by a drunk driver while out on a late night walk 2 months ago. I won't go into how it felt to lose him, I'm sure you can all imagine. It was made worse by having that fraud crying at his funeral, crying like he really was the love of her life and she was the perfect wife. It was the first time in my life I ever wanted to hit someone. I couldn't believe the audacity she had to show her face around Ben's loved ones, especially the ones who knew the truth. Mary knows how I feel about Sally, and I thought she understood that Sally is trash to us. I know I can't dictate who a person should or can be friends with, but if I had a mutual friend with Mary who shattered her as much as Sally did to me, I'd cut them off without question. I can't be friends with someone who hurts my loved ones like that. About 2 weeks ago, I came home from a work trip early and found Mary consoling Sally in our living room. I lost my crap. I asked them if they were having an affair and screamed to the point of crying. I asked Mary how she could have Sally in the living room where we have a photo of Ben hanging on the wall. Sally tried to apologize to me, and when I looked at her crying face, it was like a switch flipped in me. I immediately stopped crying and yelling, and I just looked at her and said, "The biggest injustice here is that you're here while Ben isn't. If the world were fair, I'd be able to press a button to swap your places, and I'd do that in a heartbeat. You might be able to trick my wife into feeling sorry for you, but you can't fool me. I see what you really are, and you're trash. You tricked Ben into falling in love with you so you could play pretend. I can't even fathom or quantify your selfishness. If I woke up tomorrow and I was you, I'd never get out of bed ever again. Mary says I was cruel, and I guess I was, but it was my truth. Apparently, Sally hasn't left her house since that confrontation. It's to the point where she's lost her job because of not going into the office. The thing is, I don't feel bad about it. I think it's the least she could do, and I hope she continues to not exist in my world. Mary knows I feel this way, but she still goes to Sally's place to bring her meals and help clean up the place. It honestly disgusts me. We've had many explosive arguments about it, and for the first time in our marriage, I feel like we might not recover from this. We both feel like we've seen a new side to each other, and we don't know if we'll be able to move past it. I write this here because we've kept this situation to ourselves. Other people in our lives know something is up, but have been too afraid to ask. I guess I want other people's opinions on my thoughts and feelings on this matter, even if everyone thinks I'm wrong. Update 1. Thank you to everyone who commented on my previous post. It's been such a messed up situation, and my feelings have been all over the place, so it really lifted a weight off my shoulders to see that people could understand why I felt and acted the way I did. A further thank you to people who reached out to me and shared their experiences losing a best friend. I'm sorry you guys lost your best friends too. It's like a sledgehammer to the chest that won't dislodge itself. On to the update. It's only been a week, but it has felt like forever. Mary couldn't handle the fights and disagreements anymore and packed her bags the day after my post. I knew this was probably for the best and didn't have it in me to argue or fight for her to stay. I just asked, "Are you going to Sally?" To which she just sighed and shook her head at me before leaving. Her eyes had nothing but exhaustion and disdain inside, and to be fair, I'm sure mine were the same. The town I live in isn't that big, so I've had a few friends reach out to me to say they saw Mary at Sally's place or that the two were seen grocery shopping together. I wake up every day to an empty house, knowing Mary is at Sally's. Looking after her, asking if she's okay, cooking her meals, cleaning her house. She hasn't called or texted me at all, other than to answer my call last night with, "I'm not going to talk to you until you apologize to Sally," and hanging up when I tried to explain myself. I know I'd be lying if I said I felt bad for what I said to Sally at all. There's no point in hollow apologies, and I especially don't think there's a point if there's nothing left to fix in my marriage. Mary has made it clear where her loyalties and priorities lie. I just don't understand how she can go from holding me while I cried in her arms to choosing Sally over me and ignoring me. My therapist is advising me to let myself just feel my feelings and process them before making any big life choices, and she's probably right, but I've lost all respect for Mary. I never would have thought she'd betray me this way. I lay awake last night when I suddenly had the thought, what if Mary came back on her hands and knees, begging and apologizing? What if she gave me the best apology she could possibly give me for this situation? What would it change? It breaks my heart, but deep down, I feel like it wouldn't change anything. There are some things that can't be forgiven. There were a few comments and DMs asking if Mary and Sally could be having an affair, or if Mary knew about Sally before everything exploded. These questions did keep me up when all of this started going down, but now I can't bring myself to care. My life doesn't make sense anymore, so another clusterflop detail wouldn't really change much in the grand scheme of things. I've drafted a text that could be the last one I send to Mary, and it goes as follows. Mary, your priorities and loyalties in this situation have been made very clear to me. I don't know if you want to try to save our marriage and the life we've built together, but at this point, I don't think there's anything left of it to save. You abandoned me during what I can only hope is the worst time of my life. You've invalidated my grief and anger for what? The woman who's been lying to and betraying us for years? The woman who used and strung Ben along for years? I don't recognize you right now. It's like I went to bed in a world that made sense one night and woke up in a nightmare. I think the only way forward here is for us to get lawyers and communicate through lawyers. I will not be leaving my house. If you want to collect your things, please do so. I can't believe this is happening. I never thought this would be what we've become, but choices have been made. I've been reading and redrafting this message over and over again for hours. Sometimes, it breaks my heart, and other times, it's like I'm an outsider watching myself in a bad movie. The worst thing is, I don't even know if Mary will care about it. I guess I'll let you guys know if I send it. I know this can't go on forever. Edit. Thank you to everyone for their input. I've deleted the text and I'm looking at lawyers in my area. I'm gathering all of my important documents and screenshotting all of my attempts at communication. I've had a few people ask in comments and DMs about what I said to Mary in our arguments that made her leave. I didn't put that in here originally because we were honestly just going in circles again and again. It was nothing short of exhausting. Mary kept insisting that Sally is still one of her closest friends and that she's not going to abandon her because she made a mistake. To which I'd remind her that her mistake was making the choice again and again to lie to Ben and everyone around her, robbing Ben of the chance to find someone who would truly love him the way he deserved, while sleeping with and dating women while they were married. I can't imagine how scary it must be to hide such a big part of yourself, but not everything can or should be forgiven. She could have been honest early on, and she would have had a group of friends who'd have her back and support her however they could, but instead, she chose to string Ben along. If Ben had passed away thinking he had the perfect marriage he thought he had, things would be different, but he didn't. He went into the next life feeling lost and in pain as a direct result of Sally. Mary thinks and claims I'm a callous F, and I think she should have higher moral standards for her friends.